Now, as a type 1 diabetic, I know that there are certain foods that you should never, ever eat if you want to have good blood sugar control. And in today's video, I'm going to give you the top 3 foods that you should never, ever eat as a type 1 diabetic. Now, if you're a type 2 diabetic, you'd probably benefit from not eating these foods as well. So I don't want to exclude you from this video. So if you're a type 2 diabetic, don't eat these foods. If you're type 1, definitely don't eat these foods. And I can say firsthand, I know about these 3 foods because every single time I eat these 3 foods send my blood sugar through the roof. So I try to avoid them as much as possible. So I'm going to talk about the 3 foods in today's video that you should avoid as a type 1 diabetic if you want to get your blood sugar under control. And the first food is white carbohydrates. I thought we'd start off this video by getting the obvious one out of the way. And whether you're a diabetic or not, white carbohydrates are probably the worst carbohydrates you can eat. But specifically, if you're a diabetic, these carbohydrates are awful. You should not eat these carbohydrates as a type 1 or, again, type 2 diabetic. Stay away from these carbohydrates. Stay as far away from them as you possibly can. Now, these carbohydrates are known to have very little, if no nutritional value at all, and that's because of the process that these carbs go through to actually make them white. You see, white carbs like bread and rice aren't naturally white, but through processing, we make them white. So this strips them of all their valuable nutrients like fiber, which is the main reason why we should stay away from them. And you see, the lack of fiber in these foods is the problem, because what happens is when you eat these carbs, because of the lack of fiber, your body breaks these carbs down faster than it normally would, which causes those blood sugar spikes. Now, I recommend all of my clients completely stay away from bread because there's really no bread that's diabetic friendly. Now, I know they have the protein breads and all these grain breads, but there's really no bread that's really diabetic friendly. So what I do is I tell my clients, if you have to have bread, if you know that you just love bread and you're gonna have it, what I recommend all my clients do is to opt for the grain breads or the 100% whole wheat breads. Now, the reason why I do that is because these breads have the fiber still intact in the bread, especially the grain breads. So what happens is your body's gonna break these breads down much slower, giving you a longer lasting source of energy. Plus, most importantly, it's going to prevent any blood sugar spikes. Hey guys, if this is your first time here, I want to welcome you, but if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Coach William, and my job is to help you become a healthier diabetic through videos and tips just like this. So if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you need help on your diabetic journey, click the first link below in the description and fill out the form, and let's consider working together. Now, the next food on my list of the foods that you should stay away from if you're a type 1 diabetic are fried foods. Now, I'm not even gonna lie on this one. This is one that I still haven't given up, and to be honest with you, I probably never will. However, I eat far fewer fried foods than I used to. Now, the worst thing about fried foods is not the fact that they're fried, but it's the oil that they're fried in. You see, most places that are frying foods are using either trans fats or saturated fats. And we already know that not only are these foods not great for diabetics, but in general, even if you're a non-diabetic, you should probably stay away from these fried foods. And I already know you're gonna have people in the comments debating on how saturated fat really isn't that bad for you and cholesterol, that's all a myth. And I'm not here to debate that one way or the other. However, quality is always the utmost important factor in this topic, in this discussion, in health. So when you're frying foods or cooking foods in low quality oils, regardless of where you sit on that argument, it's not good. Now, if you love fried food, what you probably heard out of what you just heard me say is that fried food is not the issue, but it is the oil that is cooked in. And if that's what you heard me say, you'd be right. Fried food is not the issue. It's the oil. So what you're probably asking yourself is there a healthier oil that I could use to fry my food in? And the answer is yes. Now, what I recommend all my clients do that love frying food is instead of using the oil that we generally think of when we think of frying food, to use either extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. But what's even better, if you're a type 1 diabetic, is to completely stay away from, or at the worst, what I do is minimize how often I eat fried foods. And the last food on my list of the 3 foods that you should stay away from if you're a type 1 diabetic and you want to have amazingly great, good blood sugars is processed meats. So if you want to be as healthy of a diabetic as you possibly can be, not only do you have to focus on sugar and carbs, but you've also got to focus on things like sodium. Because as a diabetic, you are at a higher risk of things like high blood pressure, which increases your chance of heart disease. Now, when I say things like processed meats, I'm talking about hot dogs, sausages, bacon, and look, I love some crispy bacon, but I'm talking about bacon and deli meats. Now, these meats are filled with preservatives, and what these preservatives do is they prevent them from going bad as fast, which just means they're lower quality, and we've already talked about low quality meats, but not only are they lower quality, they're normally higher in calories, which, if you're concerned with your weight, is just another reason just to not eat them. Hey, if you need help on your journey of being a healthier diabetic, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and let's work together and let's get you on the right path to healthy blood sugar and being the healthiest diabetic that you possibly can.